Um, the Premier League has about 860 million euros yearly worth of TV rights sales internationally. That is already crossed 1 billion for the next contract. I think some people may not be aware of this, but it keeps growing. They haven't hit the top yet, and every other league is trying to follow the footsteps, and Bundesliga is doing what they can and their strategy for it, and we're a small part of that role to get them to their objective. And that's again a big gap and an opportunity for growth. Cause and effect. So the global TV exposure causes increase in sponsorship value, merchandise sales, youth franchise expansion. The more that people see you, the more that people want you, that the appeal is created, and naturally you're able to get more revenue. So the same graphic that you saw before follows here into this page of revenue for the leagues. The internationalization process. So this doesn't have to be correct. That's just how I see it, and I believe from living a little bit in the market, it may be different in some places, but to the level that we are working with in the world of soccer, I believe we start always with fans. These fans are driven by passion, and that build culture to naturally go and buy their merchandise. Their audience drives the broadcast, which is naturally more people, more TVs wanting to buy your TV rights. That broadcast, along with the merchandise, creates a market appeal for the sponsor that are maybe in your jersey, maybe just exposure around the field, following your club wherever you go. And all of those drive revenue back to the club, whether it is from sócio-torcedor membership or attendance to the games, sale of merchandise, sponsorship, TV rights, and naturally we can't forget, but it doesn't fit in this equation, which is player transfers and prize money in your leagues and your success. The reason it doesn't fit in this equation, it doesn't mean it's not part of this platform or the Florida Cup, because many players have been bought getting the exposure to the world. But this is something that you can't really create a strategy for. This is all technical, and technical comes from who you decide to bring in and what type of players you have and what choice you want to push them out to the world. The money flow naturally here is in red, the process in black, as I explained. The broadcast creates exposure back to the fans. As much as the fans drive the broadcast, the more broadcasts you have, you get more fans. Naturally, internationally, that's even bigger. The drivers towards that exposure, which is what we can control here, and this is something that is in our hands to do something about, is first of all, star players. And you can't go away from it. You hear some rumors about special players now going even to Corinthians and other places, and who has who. São Paulo with Rogério Ceni, naturally River and Leonardo always with big clubs back to their countries and of international level. But that star effect of being one of the top in the world, something that, for example, you see a lot in MLS, that franchise player, the player that, for example, Bayer has in Chicharito, is one that carries you globally anywhere you go, and naturally gives you that push towards your exposure and more TV rights sales and appeal in the marketplace. That's I just spoke about. So this is a quote that Bayer left for us, where they say that Bayer is the brand, but Chicharito is the key that turns that brand now to the new markets they're exploring, whether it's the USA, Mexico, they're going heavy after. After the star players, you got the quality of play. Now it can't be that I'm not going to turn the TV on and watch a game that is not good. You can be there, and if you're not good, you're not going to captivate the audience. People are not going to come back. So the quality of play is very important. It's something that, for example, in the US, we're still seeing a little bit more people watching on the stadium than on TV, and it's a lot more about the experience that you go into versus the quality of play that you see bigger in Europe still, and naturally in South America in our tournaments and heated, passionate games, as we've seen this weekend here with Millonarios and River Plate in this very stadium. Then you have the competitiveness. Now, this is another one that is very hard for a league to control. It's very difficult, for example, for Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich has won very many of the last leagues, and you start the league without that suspense, where I believe that the English Premier League has a little bit of an advantage, because every year you may not know which one is going to win, whether it's Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City, and all those clubs, or Leicester, like we saw last year, as a big surprise to everyone. But it's something that I believe in South America we don't have to worry about. You see every year a different champion in all those different leagues, and it's something that we do have to explore. It's something that if you stop to think about the Florida Cup going to 140 plus countries this year, last year 170 countries live, and the leagues itself, and I'm going to speak mainly about, for example, the Brazilian league is, less than half of that, and it's something that has to be thought about because it's interesting, people want to see it, and that comes a lot with branding. What is that league? La Liga, the Bundesliga. I mean, it's very clear. You see that brand there and you know what it is. It's something that we as a still growing tournament have identified from the beginning and have pushed that logo from the Florida Cup as well to be identified with a preseason tournament that is of world proportions. And I believe that Bundesliga does that well, La Liga does as well. I believe it is something that we can control. We have in South America what it is the most important, which is the quality of play, new players growing, the competitiveness. But that branding aspect of it, that package going out to the world and making that interesting, the choice of games that you push out to the world, and how that stadium looks, how the intensity of that game is, how that is sold to that specific market, whether it's Asia, whether it is even Australia that loves soccer and is in a different time zone. Those games can be adapted to the times that they start. And there's no limit to soccer. People want that. We're fueled by it. The world is fueled by it. But that branding is something that I think we should really focus on and do a better job with it. And hopefully that, along with the international presence, which is the one piece that Florida Cup can provide here to all of you,